So this right here is the graph of the British pound against the US dollar. We can see that in 1972, £1 used to be worth $2.6, but today £1 is only worth $1.27. So the British pound has literally halved its value in the past 50 years, and it is only going to get worse. In this video, I'm going to explain why. The British pound has historically been one of the safest and strongest currencies in the world, but soon it is going to become worthless. Well, of course, I don't mean absolutely worthless. It's still going to have value. But what I mean is exactly what you saw in that graph. Slowly but surely, the UK pound has been losing value for the past decades. I lived in the UK for a long time. I used to have pretty much 100% of my net worth in UK pounds. Today, I have no money in UK pounds. I only hold US dollars and the UAE dirham. But of course, I hold a bunch of currencies. This is some Thai baht because right now I'm in Thailand. But in this video, I'm going to tell you why I don't hold any money in UK pounds and why you should not either. But before we can do that, let's first debunk a couple of myths about how currency rates actually work. Now, people will say, but isn't the UK pounds like the most valuable currency in the world? Because technically 1 unit of pound is worth a lot more than almost any other currency in the world. But this is actually a misconception. To illustrate this, 1 UK pound is worth 1.91 Australian dollars at the current exchange rate. The Australian dollar was created on the 14th of February 1966 to replace the Australian pound that was a previous currency that they previously had. Now, at that time, they simply decided completely arbitrarily to value that currency such that 1 British pound would be worth 2 Australian dollars. They literally simply out of nowhere decided that the value of the Australian dollar was going to be half of that of the UK pound. So as you can see, in and of itself, the fact that the Australian dollar is 2 to 1 relative to the UK pound doesn't mean absolutely anything. What matters is how these values change over time. And what matters is the relative strength of the economies relative to each other. And that is actually what is going to determine the currency values. Let me explain. In general, if an economy does really well, meaning that they have a lot of great companies that are being formed, that the companies in that country are doing well, the government finances are really strong, a lot of people are going to want to invest in that country. What that means is that there's going to be increased demand for the currency of that country, because a lot of people from abroad are going to first need to exchange their currency for the UK pound or whatever the currency of that country is in order to access the assets of that country. Now, the converse is also true. If an economy is doing really badly, as in no one wants to invest in the companies of that country, no one wants to invest in the government securities of that country because they don't trust the stability of that government, then the value of that currency is going to go down because no one wants that currency. So now that we understand at a very, very high level, sort of oversimplified version of what actually determines currency values, the reason why I think the UK pound is going to become more and more worthless is because no one wants to invest in the UK. It's easy to see. A lot of companies have been exiting the country since Brexit. The big startups have for a very long time been going to the US. More independent entrepreneurs like myself don't really want to live in the UK anymore. We're going to different places. We're going to Dubai. Most importantly, it's no longer the kind of place where successful and wealthy people want to live, which means that a lot of new wealth creation is not going to be happening in the UK. It's going to be happening elsewhere. So there's going to be less and less demand for people to invest in UK companies. The UK government and the UK economy has historically been one of the most stable governments in the world. And I'm not saying that it's suddenly going to go to the same level of like an African government or something like that. But in recent years, the UK government has shown that they are completely incompetent. There was literally a time that the UK government was on the brink of going bankrupt. The Bank of England had to literally rescue them from going bankrupt because they were so incompetent. So there's less and less trust and confidence and stability in the UK economy and the UK government, which is going to make people second guess a lot about whether they want to invest in UK government instruments and things like this. And as we can see from this graph, it's pretty evident that this has already been happening. Like, this is already happening right now. This isn't some speculation. Like, it's already happening. The UK pound has been losing value for the past 50 years. So you can take this for what you will, but at least me personally, I'm not going to want to have my wealth in a currency of a country that is in decline, because I'm literally going to have to earn higher returns just to make up for the fact that the currency that my assets are denominated in would be declining. Now, what does it mean for you? In general, you want to have your assets diversified in a lot of different currencies, and ideally in currencies that are very stable. Now, people are talking about de-dollarization, that the US is going to collapse and things like this. And perhaps that is happening as well, but that is, in my opinion, nowhere near as imminent, because the US dollar is still the world's reserve currency. Most of the biggest startups, new companies are still being formed in the US. I'm nowhere near as negative on the US as a lot of other people on this space. So I certainly still have a lot of my assets in the US dollar, because a lot of the best companies, the S&P 500 companies, are in the US. So if you want to invest in them, you need to invest in US dollars. But certainly I'm not going to have all of my money in the US dollar. I live in Dubai, in UAE. So a lot of my assets, around perhaps 30-40% of my assets, are in the UAE dirham, which is obviously pegged to the US dollar. So in the short to medium term, I'm also definitely going to want to diversify my assets even more. At some point, I'm going to want to probably get a bank account in Singapore to be able to invest in Singapore dollars. The Singapore dollar is one of the most stable currencies in the world. The Swiss franc is another sort of safe haven currencies that people are usually having their money in. So look into currencies like that. Don't have all of your assets in one currency, certainly not in a currency of a declining country like the UK. But what this also means for you is that if you live in the UK, it's going to be very difficult for you to not have a lot of your assets in the UK pound. So what you really want to look into is to move, to leave the UK. I personally left London, the UK, to live in Dubai in the UAE, because this is not just about currencies. There's a lot of benefits in basing yourself, living in a place that is going up rather than a place that is going down. In the UK, the crime is getting worse, the culture is terrible. Now, you don't have to move to Dubai, but if you are interested in leaving the UK and moving to Dubai, then I can hook you up with my business partners down below, who can give you a free consultation where they can walk you through what this process would actually look like, what it would mean to exit the UK and move to Dubai. That can allow you to move to a better jurisdiction with a better currency. That is what I recommend that you do. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to hear my full reasoning, my full thoughts on exactly why the UK is doing so badly right now, why everyone, literally everyone, is leaving the UK, and I go through that in more detail in this video right here. Go watch that video if you're still not convinced. And with that, I will see you in the next one.